call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everybody to the school board meeting tonight. Just as a reminder, tonight's meeting is being live streamed, so know that this meeting is being recorded and played. Hopefully people have joined us on the web. We have a couple of items as far as the agenda.
On tonight's agenda, just a couple rearranging things in order here. First of all, I'd like to make a motion to change item number F. That's marked as approval. That needs to be an in. And then also, I'd like to move item G up to after item D on there, just so that'll help the meeting flow.
Yeah. Okay. So the motion on the table is that item F will be moved from approval to inform. This is permission to purchase 4 2024 school buses. Again, moving from approval to inform. And then just rearranging the agenda, item G under relations. This is the North Peru Police Department SRO agreement. Approval on that, we'll move that up to follow item D. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Travis. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0, Debbie. And then we'll entertain a motion to accept consent agenda items.
Motion.
Have a motion by Earl. Do I have a second?
Second. Second
by Pat. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. The next item on the agenda, would like to ask if there's anyone present who would like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda.
Yes, ma'am. Greg Browning.
So I think, Greg, are you here to talk about school safety?
That's correct.
Perfect. If we could hold that discussion until the agenda item around school safety, is that all right with you?
Yeah.
Perfect. That agenda item is under E. So we'll make sure that you have an opportunity to speak at that point.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to discuss something that is not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We'll go down under Graham Creek STEM continuum presentation. Todd.
Well, good evening, guys.
Welcome.
Back at you. On behalf of Courtney Christ-Johnson, one of our amazing 6th grade teachers, and myself and our staff, I want to thank you guys for allowing us to come in. I know, lifetime resident here, I know as public servants you guys get the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I want to give you some good, okay? This is what's happening. We're going to share some amazing things that are going on down in Comiskey, Indiana at our little school, Graham Creek. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to give you guys an update on where we are on the STEM certification process. And then Courtney, get up here, kid. Courtney's going to actually be the brains of the operation because she's going to kind of show you what we have found and where we're going to go with it. So where we are in the process, I'm going to kind of give you a history lesson. We're going to go back to April, May of last school year. And Graham Creek kind of decided at that time we were going to, I don't know, be the pioneer, I guess, pave the way, and really just bite the bullet and see what we can do with this certification. Little did I know what we agreed to. I mean, the process started in August. Our staff came in, and I don't think they were running. I really think we had to sprint to get to October in order to check off a lot of boxes, show a lot of evidence, and give documentation on what we were doing in order to even be looked at as a school that was teaching STEM or being a leader in the STEM area. So in October, we submitted our first proposal, if you will, and we had to wait until December 16th, the Friday before Christmas break. And we got our notification, and we just missed it. Was it 3 points, 4 points? 4. We were so stinking close. And what staff didn't know at the time is I know from my research on this that most schools, it took them 2 years to even get to this point. So what we had done in just from basically August to October to get to that point in December was like, blew me away. So we then provided more evidence, gave more documentation, sent it back in, and then just this past Friday, February 3rd, we got our second notification that we made it. We had earned at that point the next step, and the next step is the big step, and that is the site visit that will be on March the 14th, where the IDOE and their little teams are going to come in and they're going to interview kids, staff, custodians, cooks, whoever, and look everywhere to see if indeed Graham Creek is worthy, if you will, of this title of being STEM certified. So, where are we now? What we had learned is through this truly arduous process, we learned where our staff was. They grew. Oh my God, it was amazing how far we have grown, not only STEM, but just through the whole process, how we've learned to trust each other. But what we have found is we know we had rock stars in the building that were great at one area, but then we also found those weak links, right? You know, the old saying, you're only strong as the weakest link. So what Courtney has developed is the what now part of it. You know, what happens if we become we become a certified school, we win the championship, if you will, then now what? You know, what do you do then? So what we have learned is we've got to keep improving, because ultimately the staff, the more we can provide the PD on their weak points, what's the gain is, it's better in our students' education. You know, I truly believe we are providing, we got parents here tonight, I hope they'll even say it later, like give me some money, right? But I think we're providing a credible education in Comiskey. And this is just one part of it. So Courtney, kind of take them through your next journey on where we want to go with this.
Okay, so don't hate me. I think it's the teacher in me, but I'm giving you all homework that you're going to kind of do along with me.
Look, Earl, he's leaving.
I know. I've already scared him away. So, and the reason I want to give this to all of you is because this is the same piece of paper that we gave to our staff, and we actually just gave it to them earlier this week. And we've been able to collect a lot of data and a lot of valuable information just in a few days. Would any of you like this one? I'm sure everybody's eager to fill it out. But so what we did is whenever we were going through this, and feel free to read through it as I'm talking, and if you want to mark where you think you would be at with these 6 different initiatives that we have going on kind of right now, feel free to kind of see where you would also be at with our teachers. Because as we were going through the STEM certification process, we were able to really, really highlight what Grand Creek is doing well at. And I mean, just to say that our teachers are amazing, absolutely it's true. And you can see it on our kids' faces when you walk in the door, you can see it on our parents' faces. So we know we have amazing teachers. But whenever we were going through the STEM certification process, we were able to really highlight it and really show the state of Indiana, you know, with evidence, how amazing they really are. And so doing that, we were able to highlight it, but then we were also able to see, you know, all the huge tasks that we are giving our staff and the tasks that we are giving our teachers and putting that on their shoulders. And so we kind of narrowed it down to 6 basic initiatives, or 6 main initiatives that we are all kind of trying to funnel together and teach and, you know, make our kids successful. And so we have those 6, you know, the first one is, you know, tech with just computers and iPads, and are you using those in your classroom? We have Google Suites, so that's just, you know, your Google Sheets, forms, documents, slides, PBL training, project-based learning. We have our STEM in the classroom, not necessarily just as a pull-out in the STEM lab, but, you know, are our teachers confident in doing it in their classroom, in their curriculum? UDL, that's the one that we are currently, we have little pods in our each schools that are receiving training to be able to bring it back to train teachers on. And then computer science. And for Graham Creek, right now our focus from now until May is really going to kind of push more towards that computer science initiative. But we kind of broke it down as we were gathering evidence for our STEM certification, and we found that a lot of our teachers, we've all been trained in these different initiatives. But then whenever we would go back to our teachers and we would ask them, what are we doing with them? We didn't really have an end goal in mind. A lot of our teachers were like, well, I'm trained in this, and I'm trained in this, and I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this, but I have no idea what I'm actually doing with it. And so Mr. Hearn and I sat down and we were kind of like, okay, where's our point A, where's our point B, and then how do we get there? And so we kind of decided our point A was just going to be back whenever the 2016 standards came out. That was kind of the easiest baseline, and then again when they updated in that 2020. So that's kind of our starting point. So we wanted our staff to look at, where are you at thinking back to 2020, and then we gave them the end goal. And our end goal is, and what Jennings County's end goal is to, have teachers fully integrating all 6 of these things into their curriculum simultaneously, to where whenever you walk into a classroom, you can't tell if it's math, science, reading, right? They're all just connected together. And so whenever we looked at this continuum, because, the end goal is always an end goal, because there's always going to be more. There's always going to be other things that we're going to be doing to strive to get there. And so we took this to our teachers, and we wanted to know, because they weren't for sure what direction we were going in, well, then we kind of took a step back and we're like, okay, where are you at just in general? Not even really looking at this end goal, but where are you at with these things in your classroom? Because, we've all had the training on them, but we found that a lot of these things, or some of these things, weren't making it to the classroom the best way that the teacher wanted it to happen. So over the course of the week, the teachers filled this out, and if you would like to fill it out, I would encourage you to do so, and so that way you can kind of see what the teachers were going through. And it's really just kind of putting yourself on these sunshine rays, because our goal is to get to the sunshine. We try to have symbolism in 6th grade. That's one of our standards that we teach is, symbolic meaning, and so we want our teachers to reach that sun. We want them to get there. And so we put all these different 6 initiatives on a ray of sunshine. And how do we get there? And so the data that we found, we kind of thought of it as like a grade. So like if you were at a 4 out of 4, you're 100% confident in the training, in what you're doing, you're good to go. And of course the 4 isn't quite at the sun, because there's always room for improvement. That 3 is at, 75%, C, kind of average, 2 would be a 50%, 1 would be that 25%. So whenever we actually receive the data back, you can go to the next one, thank you. This is what we found. And each ray has a total of 16 votes. And what we did is we put where everybody's mark was, I tallied them up and put them there. So on the technology with iPads and computers, in that number 1 spot, there was 1 person that had a vote there. And then on the number 2 spot, there were 4 people who were at like a 2. And so that's kind of how we got those numbers. So, and whenever I was looking at this, it kind of surprised me, to be completely honest with you. Because as I was looking, I noticed that the majority of our staff ranked themselves at a 3 or lower in each of these 6 categories. Which surprised me, because we've all had training in all of them other than UDL. And so that was kind of a red flag. That was kind of wait a minute, something seems off to me, because I would think that, I would rate myself higher than a 75% if I've had this training. So then that led me to dig a little bit further. So as I was digging and as I was talking to our staff and trying to understand why they felt this way, as I've realized it's not the training. Central office is doing a great job in providing us training and providing us, these opportunities to have people come in-house and, train us on these things. What we're lacking is that implementation piece. We get the training, but then how do we apply it to our students? I know I'm trained in project-based learning, but how do I apply that and differentiate it to 17 different kids this year? And so that's what I found, and that's what we're lacking. And so Mr. Hearn and I, we met this morning, and we're gonna meet again next week to figure out, okay, now how do we differentiate? For those people who are at 1s and 2s, how do I differentiate from one teacher to another teacher? I differentiate my classroom every single day. I'm required to, and that's the way kids are going to learn the best. And teachers aren't any different. And so our goal is to, we differentiate for our students, we also need to differentiate for our staff. So our next step is to figure out on our 1s and where our 1s and 2s and things like that are, and then go directly to them and have that private conversation or just that open conversation of how can I assist you? What resources do you need? What supports do you need? And so we already have, since computer science is our focus, we already have some things in motion that we're going to be working on between now and May. And then that way, come August, we are going to be able to hit the ground running with every single classroom in our school going at the same pace and the same differentiation for each class, to where by the time they've started this computer science and code.org in kindergarten, by the time they get to me in 6th grade, they will have all the necessary background work and background knowledge done, to where we're all working together and we're all working at the same pace and on the same page. But we have to do that through differentiation. And so our goal this year in the summer is to be able to provide that to our staff to make sure that we have confident teachers. And
So what you'll see, just very quick, I'll end this up. What I see as an administrator with this is a couple of things. One, I was so proud that our staff was vulnerable. You know, we made sure when we introduced this, I made sure this is not an evaluative thing. In fact, I really want to know your weaknesses. Why? Because that's where we got to improve. I mean, I'm tired of always assuming people know things. So at Grand Creek, we kind of take it a different route, and we're not going to assume. Let's see where we are. Let's truly look at data and not make it mean what we want it to mean, but really, what is it showing us? And then let's do something with it. So when Courtney came with me with this, it was like, no brainer. This is going to make me look really good. No, it's going to make our staff really good, and they trust each other enough that we can, I think, take that, and it's so cliche, from good to great. And this is our way. I really want to get us to not just a STEM certified school, but a true great school. Because the next goal that is coming at them, Courtney's the only one that knows, is we're going to start looking at the blue ribbon, the gold star. We want to go and take this thing another step. So feather in your guys' cap too. Right,
so
Nikki?
when I was trying to figure out, because I try to be somewhat prepared, and I couldn't figure out how I wanted to end it. So, and every presentation has an ending, and the only thing I could think of was this past week I had a student, because even though we have these holes and we have this lack of confidence from some of our teachers, there was a 6th grade student. She had been absent, so she sent an email and wanted her work, and so sent the work to her. Didn't really tell her anything about it, but just sent it to her so she could see it. I get an email back. And the only question she had was, is this STEM? And I sent back to her, why do you ask if it's STEM? And she said, well, there's a science assignment, there's a reading assignment, and there's a writing assignment, and they all connect. And I just assumed that there was going to be a STEM project at the end of it. And so it's working. The things that we're doing from the ground up, from kindergarten up, are working. We're getting away from that departmentalization where everything is separate, and we're finally getting to where it's combined. And you're not going to see that on a test score. You're not going to see that on an assessment. But just that email let me know that our staff is doing it, and they're doing it really, really well. And I'm very proud of them, and I hope that you guys are too.
Good job, kid.
Thanks.
Well, thank you guys, both of you, for coming to the board meeting tonight, presenting to us. Congratulations on advancing to a site visit. That is super exciting. One of the things, in healthcare, when we have people coming into our home, one of the things that we always like to do is hear what they have to say, because you're growing and you're improving. Any information or little tidbits of, things here you're doing well, you're maybe need to improve, it always gives you an opportunity to grow. So that's fantastic. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, we'll move on to down under support staff recommendations.
There's one right above that,
Oh,
kind
I'm
of
sorry.
sneaked in there,
Sorry,
under professional.
That's my fault.
I'm asking for approval for Valerie Bingham to receive her career increment master teacher stipend for the years 2023-24 through 2027-28.
Okay, do I have a motion? Motion by Travis, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mary Lynn. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Sorry about that. Now we'll go down to simple stuff. I threw you a loop there.
That's
Sorry.
okay. The recommendations would be for Bryce Barnes to serve as a JCHS volunteer wrestling coach for the 22-23 year. Also, Pamela Craven will be serving as a nurse at Jennings County High School and North Thornton Elementary. There's a recommendation from Mindy Ryan to be a cook at Jennings County High School. Brittany Sharp to serve as an ESSER parapro at Sand Creek Elementary, and Alta Wolf to serve as a parapro at Sand Creek Elementary as well.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Earl, do I have a second? Second by Pat, any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. And then we'll move down under finances, donations, Philip?
Our donations, Casey's General Store, $7 to the NVE Picture Fund. Scipio United Methodist Church, $100 to the Scipio Elementary student lunches. Ray Wagster, $100 to the High School Panther Pantry. Coffee Creek Conservation Club, $1,500 to the High School Academic Honors Program. Brewer Livestock, $500 to the High School Supply Shop. Lehman Hummel Insurance, $100 to the High School Supply Shop. And Jackson County Farm Bureau, bring agriculture into the classroom books, $90 value to each elementary school.
So that'll be the Jennings County Farm Bureau.
Yes, what'd I say?
Jackson.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
All right, do I have a motion to approve those donations?
I make a motion.
Motion by Cheryl, do I have a second? Second by Chelsea, any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. And then under resolutions, Philip?
Next is a resolution that we do every year about this time to adjust the appropriations between major funds of education, debt, and operation rainy day to establish the 2023 budget from the approved budget order on major classifications.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept that resolution? Motion by Travis, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mary Lynn, any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0.
Next up, I'm asking approval to purchase 2023, for the start of the 2023-24 school year, Chromebooks for grades 3 through 12.
Okay, do I have a motion? Motion by Earl, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Pat, any discussion?
I do have one piece I need to add to that, I'm sorry.
Okay,
The funding of this will be done through 2 common school loans and a loan through Dell Financial, which I'll bring to you at a later date. So I want to make sure you get that thrown in there.
okay. Any additional discussion? All those in favor, all those in favor? 7-0. I'm really struggling tonight. All right. Now we'll go down to relations.
So bringing to you for approval the North Vernon Police Department SRO agreement. We do this annually. This one has an option for multi-year. It also includes language to allow us to move forward with what we've been planning for the 3rd SRO position, dependent on NVPD staffing.
Okay.
So asking for approval.
Do I have a motion for approval of that agreement?
So moved.
Motion by Mary Lynn, second by Earl. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0.
And thank you to Chief Messer for coming tonight.
Would you be able to get a signed copy of that so I can take it before the council meeting Monday?
Sure will.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then we'll move down under property.
So I have a safety and security inform tonight, an update. I'm actually going to read it to you. It's written out this way so I can send it as an email to parents tomorrow. So it's just some updates on safety and security in the light of the last few weeks. So the first one being, Jennings County School Corporation deeply values the safety and security of our students, staff, and families. We work in partnership with North Vernon Police Department and the Jennings County Sheriff's Department in an ongoing effort to secure our buildings. We have prioritized training school administrators and have certified school safety trained individuals in each building. In the event of any identified school safety threat, we take swift and immediate action to notify law enforcement and request assistance. We dedicate ourselves to doing so with transparency and notify the public with additional information as available and appropriate for safety. We have already been working diligently to continue to invest in school safety and continuously strengthen our knowledge and safety security plans. In the last 3 years, we have invested in increased camera surveillance, updated locks, fencing, staff training, and communication systems. In consideration of recent threats, we are continuing to review our plans for next steps internally and do so in consultation with our current partners and other law enforcement experts. We take safety very seriously and are committed to continuously updating and improving. Thank you. That will be sent to parents. And in addition to that, we have an update on our building entry procedures, so I'd like to read that as well. Jennings County School Corporation values parent involvement and community connections. We've worked hard to increase our ability to interact with our parents and families post-COVID. Many important conversations happen as parents pick up students and drop off needed items. We have checked at each entry for visitor purpose and need for building entry. We complete background checks prior to entry past secured office areas. Last week, an individual who had a planned delivery and is a parent arrived at one of our buildings. This person chose to purposely conceal a weapon prior to entry. Due to this incident and a review of secure entry procedures, at this time, Jennings County Schools will not be allowing school entry during school hours for item drop-off and pickup purposes. Please be prepared if visiting a building with your ID and anticipate a short wait while we assist you. We are saddened that we are unable to welcome you in another manner at this time. We will be reviewing our safety procedures and entry plans with law enforcement and will continue to revise and add measures as appropriate. We thank you for your understanding. So both of those will be sent out tomorrow by email for all parents to have.
So that item is an inform on the agenda, and Mr. Browning, I believe you're here to speak about school safety. If you would state your name and
Yes,
your address just for the records, and then we have a 3-minute time period according to policy.
Understood.
Thank you.
Okay, as mentioned before, my name is Greg Browning, 1110 West State Highway 250 in Deputy, Indiana, which is in Jennings County. I have a student. I'm the father of a 6-year-old son who attends Graham Creek Elementary School. In light of recent events concerning bomb threats and an individual accessing the interior of our school system with a loaded gun, I have found myself greatly concerned with the safety and well-being of our children. In my research, it has been brought to my attention that we only have 2 resource officers to cover the entire Jennings County school system, an area of over 378 square miles with 9 buildings and 3,900 students plus staff and faculty. This is an unacceptable average considering our children is the most valuable possession on the face of this planet and yet the most vulnerable when it comes to being attacked. As a comparison, when I go to the Jennings County government building to pay taxes or apply for a building permit, there is an armed deputy sheriff at the door, and patrons must pass through a metal detector before entry is allowed. The same arrangement can be found when entering the Jennings County Courthouse. There is roughly a couple dozen employees at each one of these buildings, all of which are grown adults, all of which chose to be there on their own accord. As a county, we provide all this protection, yet 3,900 defenseless children are supposed to share 2 officers among 9 buildings scattered over that same 378 square miles. I find this negligent and unacceptable. As I look at the current members of this school board, I see old friends, retired law enforcement, and former students of Jennings County, and I'm sure most of you are parents or even grandparents. The question is, when are we going to provide the same police protection, metal detectors, at our schools we so willingly give to a handful of adults in our county government? My research shows that Jennings County School Board 2021 annual revenue is in excess of $55 million. A large portion of our taxes goes to the school system, and I believe you would be hard-pressed to find a taxpayer who would have reservations about bolstering school security. So in closing, I ask you, board members, do we take wise and decisive action now, or wait until it's too late, only to be forced to explain our short-sighted decisions to a group of grieving parents. We parents and you school board members cannot afford to take such chances by turning a blind eye to this with justification that it likely won't happen here. I look forward to discussing this matter at the next board meeting with expectations you will provide an appropriate solution to our security shortcomings. As board members and parents, let us come together on this matter and show any individual who wish to harm our children that Jennings County Schools are prepared to protect, prepared to defend, prepared to promote safety and health and a safe and healthy learning environment. Let us tackle these matters with a team spirit, not one of opposition to change, with decisive action, not division, with fresh and modern ideas to security and not the outdated and unsafe policies of yesteryear. Thank you.
So first of all, I want to thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate that. We very much want to hear from community members. It's important because we are partners. That is what this is about.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that very much. We will take your comments under advisement. I will tell you, share with you that I know that Nikki has met multiple times with police officers. As you can imagine, Nikki is not an expert, right? She's not a police officer in school safety. While a lot of our principals have been trained, a lot of our staff have been trained in school safety, we have to look at our partners in law enforcement to help guide these decisions that we're making, to make sure that we're making appropriate decisions. So those conversations have begun. It's not something that's we can flip a switch and turn on immediately, as I'm sure you can understand that. But I want to assure you that the entire board, I believe that everyone in this room, our staff, the faculty of the school, we all take safety, especially of our children, at the highest priority. So again, we just want to thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So we'll move on down to permission for the purpose
An
of
inform,
the purchase
yeah.
of the school bus.
This is just to inform you that the next meeting, I'll be bringing the, requesting approval to purchase school buses. It's on our normal schedule that we approved in August. So we are going to be we're still working on the fine tuning of that, on the exact quantity. And I will bring that next meeting about purchasing buses to replace older buses.
Again, that item is an inform item. And then we're down under other. No, nothing? So if I have nothing else on the agenda, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by Pat, second by Mary Lynn. All those in favor? 7-0, meeting adjourned.